Hello, welcome back to today's day podcast with Jack and Danny. Danny, horrible.
What is happening, sir? How is the form?
I'm all good. I came back from the podcast, from last podcast, this podcast, about a good 10 years younger.
I know, mate. You're not more than half a months lad, and you've shaved. What's happening, mate? Did you hit your head?
You think so? Like, I'm growing her out. So,
You're growing out again. You're not gonna cut the week.
I got covered in, I only got, beard done and, this hair, and actually, another size one. I don't even know what I'm doing with the hair itself, but, yeah, that's the plan.
Wow. How long are you talking about growing out? Like
I don't know. Go ahead, what was it?
5-year-old Jack, right? 5-year-old Jack, right, with a ponytail, like.
I don't think I don't even know about them. I don't think you even knew about them days, to be honest. we're talking time ago. It was I don't know. It's been about 2 months. That's a long time. I had a haircut in about probably all my life.
Yeah, I know, mate. Mad. But here, Jack, let's get straight into it today, right? So basically, with your expertise being a personal trainer, obviously we're now in February, halfway through February. Today is the 18th of February. It's Sunday, and kind of in the new year, as we know, summer's not too far away, and people always have this goal for summer of kind of getting in the best shape of their lives, Jack. So one of the points I have written down here is, right, Jack, if you had 3 months to get in the best shape you could for summer, what would you do?
Me personally, for me as an individual, what I would personally do.
Or say from the perspective of, say, a client comes to you 3 months before summer and they want to get in the best shape. What would you tell them to do for people listening who want to get in really good shape for this summer? What would you say them to do?
If we're not going, what's the word, specific, in the sense that we don't know where the individual is. The individual could already have muscle on them. This individual could be fat. This person could be skinny. You don't know where the individual. I would say stick to the basics, right? Which would be resistant machines. Your usual stuff that involves resistant machines. That's not free weight. It means basically they're easier to perform, and you don't have to think about how to perform the exercise as much. So firstly, I would say when it comes to training, I would say do resistant machines. That is key, and that's going to get you moving forward.
Is that opposed to lifting free weights, or do you mean just resistance training in general?
I would say it was a full. Say it was 3 days a week. I would recommend doing 3 days a week if you're only starting off in the gym and you're thinking, oh, I need to get in the shape for summer. I would say 3 days a week, and I would say about 90%, 80% of the training I would do resistant machines, only because at the start people find it hard to do certain form exercises right and perform it correctly. So with resistant machines, it just takes away that factor of having to think about the form as much to some degree, and it also makes it harder to fuck up, if that makes sense, when performing it. It also adds an extra bit of time and retention, because if you think of a free weight, for example, if you're doing a bicep curl, you're going up and you're going down, but some people would just go boom. But with resistance, you're automatically going down, if that makes sense. You can just go up and then you just let go down, but resistance, it's going to have a wee bit more of a hold. But it's just basically less harder to fuck up when you're using a resistance machine. So that is what I would definitely recommend if you're starting and you want to get in the shape for summer. I would say resistance machines. Regarding that, it all just depends on what position you are currently. But if we're going generic, we're not going specific, we're just going off just anyone. It could be fat, I'd say tracking the calories, just check and see what you're eating, and try to think of healthy switches. Can I switch a chocolate bar to a banana? You don't have to be extreme, or can I switch a energy drink that has 200 calories in it for water? Think small increments instead of thinking, right, I have to track every single calorie and I have to eat this much, and then it's going to overwhelm you and you're just going to be like, I can't do this. So start off small and then think about, right, what is it I'm actually eating? And then look at the calories and macros and all the rest of it. You want to make it as easy as possible to start, so they can, start to enjoy it and start to see wee bits of progress. Then you can start to add in, a a wee bit more specific stuff and a wee bit more like what's the word, macros, calories, all that kind of stuff. So it is, but no matter what, whoever's watching this, if you give yourself, say 3 months before summer, that's the intended time period. It doesn't matter. Like, if you know, as you stick it within the gym and you look after what you're eating, it's a guaranteed fact that in 3 months' time you will look better than you did when you first started, and that's not even a debate. That's a fact. So you may be comparing yourself to other people out there right now, like, oh, he has, look at The Rock, oh, he's massive, he's this, he's that, but no one sees the 15 years beforehand, if that makes sense. But if you can look at yourself 3 months beforehand and this, you can be like, you know what, I'm not comparing myself to other people, I'm looking at myself from 3 months before. If that makes sense, then you're going to be like, oh, well, look at me 3 months ago, so look at me now, and then what's going to be like in another 3 months, and then in 1 year, and then so on. So always compare yourself to yourself, because people are on different journeys and different time periods and different time zones. That is something that when I first started going to the gym, I wish someone told me. I was always looking at people, oh, everyone in the gym's so big and I'm so small, I can't do this kind of thing. It was overwhelming. I would also say, if you can, yes, go at the start, go with your mates to get used to it, 100%, like, as in, like, used to the environment and stuff. But over time, I would personally prefer maybe either hire a coach or go by yourself for a bit. Not all the time, only sometimes. You don't have to go with someone all the time. Go yourself sometimes too, because you'll get comfortable. You get comfortable when you're with friends that are not maybe pushing themselves as the way you want to do. Well, I'm only going off my past experiences. My past experience, when I was going with my friends, I was lifting heavy, thinking I could only lift that much. And then I had a guy who worked in the gym, came up with me and was like, Jack, what are you doing? I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, you can lift heavy up. And I says to him, that's a lie, I can't lift heavy up. I don't believe that's true. And I thought I was pushing myself to the hardest there was. And he goes, no, lift the next dumbbells up. So a guy was just doing incline bench press. I lifted them up, done about 10 reps. Goes, right, lift the next per up, I went up, not one day, I went up 7.5 kg, and that was just from someone telling me I could do more. That was not me, I didn't believe I could, but someone had told me I could do more. So then I started doing it, and the reason why I didn't actually push myself up higher is because I seen the people around me doing the same weight. So I was like, oh, I have to do the same weight as them, and that kind of stuff. So that's why I recommend going with your mates to get comfortable with the environment first, and then sometimes, obviously, it's good to have your mate going. Like, go with your mates still. I'm not saying not to go with your mates. I'm just saying the odd time go by yourself, because sometimes, from my environment anyway, you can, find your true potential in you and not other people, and also in the fact other way around. Say someone's lifting heavier than you, if you can go with someone who's already like had years experience, go with them if you can as well.
Yeah. So, what level of physique do you reckon you could achieve for 3 months? Like, do you feel like you could build a pretty muscular and lean physique within the space of only 3 months?
It depends on the individual. Like, for me, for example, I believe I 100% could, because I have the muscle definition there, and I have the experience, and I have a few years of lifting weights behind me. But if someone only just starting off in the gym and they're saying, "Oh, I have 3 months to get so and so," don't expect in 3 months for you to be, quote unquote, the best shape of your life. In the sense that, like, it depends what you define as your best shape of your life. You know what I mean? Like, you can be looking up The Rock. I want to be best shape of my life would be The Rock. For me, even me, that's impossible in 3 months. That's impossible. But it depends on what your dream physique is. But if you were to turn around and say to me, "Oh, I'm going to start a gym in 3 months. What do you think is the ideal result? Do you think I can get to?" I think you could definitely put on a whole lot of muscle. I think you could definitely lose a whole lot of weight, depending on where you're at and what the goal is and stuff. But what I can guarantee is that you will look in 3 months' time, day and night, compared to what you would have looked at the start, if that makes sense. And it's not even just the looks wise. See, mentally, you'll be like, look what I could lift and look what I can lift. Look where I could run and look what I can run now, kind of thing. So everyone gets caught up in what they look like, but no one actually looks at the other stuff. And the other stuff is ultimately what gets you to the ultimate physique, if that makes sense. So people look at, oh, I look like this, but what about the, do you know what I mean? Do you know where I'm coming from? So, for example, I went from 5 kg curls to 10 kg curls in, let's say, 3 months. That's just an example, But if you focus on that there and don't focus on the looks as much, then ultimately that will come as a byproduct of the looks, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Obviously, when you like kind of watch fitness influencers and other influencers, we're always like kind of portrayed this belief of cutting and bulking phases. What's kind of your opinions on them?
It depends on, again, it just depends on the person, what their goals are. You see, for example, like a footballer's not going to go on a bulk. Well, they could if they wanted to, but the footballer or like a boxer or something like that, it wouldn't be ideal for them to go on a proper bulk during a season that they're fighting loads or a season that they're in matches every week. A lean bulk maybe, but an actual bulk, it wouldn't make sense for them. But for someone, for example, someone who wanted to, maybe build muscle and they were, really skinny and they're really uncomfortable being that skinny and they generally actually were skinny and they're in a position to bulk, then it makes sense to them because they're obviously they don't have a sport related kind of thing and they just want to look better. So it makes more sense for them too. But you've also got to think in the approach that like, are you in a position to bulk? For example, if someone's like already has a wee bit of excess fat that they don't necessarily want to have, but they're muscly, but they want to bulk, are they still technically in a position to bulk? And for me, you need to go one way, obviously cut or bulk. In that position, I personally would actually go on a cut and get them as lean as possible to then go on a bulk for a longer period of time. And it just makes more sense because then you can go for a longer bulk and you can put more muscle on for a longer period of time without having to, get uncomfortable in your own skin, if that makes sense. So, for example, if someone's coming to me, for example, who's already has muscle behind them, but they have a wee bit of excess fat that are not happy with, but they could be kind of thing. My thing to them would be, go on a cut and get as lean as possible, then go on a bulk, so it means going longer bulking phase. But if you're going straight to a bulk, it just means it's going to be a less of a bulk, and also means you're going to get uncomfortable really quick compared to what you would have if you'd done the opposite approach.
Yeah, see for people listening and don't actually know what it is. What are both these things?
What a cut and a bulk?
Yeah. So
a cut is essentially where you reduce your calories or up your energy expenditures, like I don't know, like going runs and stuff, and extra cardio. A calorie deficit is basically consuming less calories than you normally would on a daily basis. For example, say my maintenance is how much calories I would normally eat per day. Say it was 2,000. Say I reduce that to 1,700 per day. That would create a calorie deficit. But a calorie surplus is essentially a bulk. So essentially, say I was 2,000 calories and I wanted to go on a bulk. Say I want then instead I want the 2,300 calories each day. That would be called a bulk because I'm upping my calories to therefore build muscle and put on weight. If that makes sense.
Yeah. See with a cut, do you think it's like healthy? Do you actually think a cut's healthy? Because I find like when you do kind of go on like an extreme cut, like your like your sleep gets really bad, and other things get obviously not very well because your body needs food in order to survive, and like kind of stuff. Yeah, mentally you're being mentally like foggy and stuff, and like it's not really the most ideal situation to be in. Do you think it's like actually healthy?
Again, it just depends on the individual. I know it sounds very generic what me saying that, but it is true. It just depends on the individual and how lean they actually want to get. Like what is the goal, if that makes sense. So, for example, for me, you get the period where you cut and you're actually right. Now this is where I want to go, but I want to be leaner. And is it actually worth getting that extra 1%, 2%? Because you get the point where you're actually drained and you're doing it just to get the abs out, but if that's it's not going to make you happy getting the damn abs that defined. If that makes sense, like you're mentally going to be drained. You'll have no energy. You're not going to be a better person to be around. Obviously it depends on person to person, but from my experiences, mentally, I felt drained. Had no energy and so on. So you can get the point where you cut and you're at a perfect weight and you're actually enjoying the weight and you're like, boom, this is actually class. But then there's people who take it to the extreme, and I have took it at the not an extreme, but like a point where I cut out my favorite foods and all and everything. And not that I enjoyed the process of challenging myself that way mentally, like I'm not eating that kind of thing. But I was tired and stuff, so it just depends on what the goal is. But personally, there definitely is a point where it's not benefiting the person, and they're just doing it just to act like the people who are on social media who aren't even that lean anymore, and that kind of thing. And we're all faulty of it. Like we always, like I include myself, we all upload the best photos of ourselves, and then we're all a problem of society when it comes to social media doing that. But yeah, and there definitely is a point where right, you need to reverse that. This is actually not, or you need to stay on what you're doing because this is actually not benefiting me anymore. It also depends on what period you're in. Because say you're overweight, like you actually are overweight. I would say it is a very beneficial thing in the sense that, like, you know, you're going to look better. You're also going to feel better in your own skin as one. Short price, you might feel a wee bit drained and fatigued and all the rest of it, which is to be expected. But at the end of the day, a calorie deficit is not meant to be forever. Like, it's impossible to live in a calorie deficit for the rest of your life. It's just a period of time. If that makes sense, your body's not designed to be in a deficit and eating less all the time. That's not something that's beneficial, and it's impossible. But in saying that, like, just know if you're overweight and you're thinking about going on a calorie deficit to lose weight, know that's only for a period of time. It's not your whole life kind of thing. And this is why we do stuff like calorie maintenance this week. So, for example, maybe every 4 to 6 weeks, after 4 to 6 weeks, we go off the deficit and go on a calorie maintenance week. Essentially, a calorie maintenance is where you go back to your normal calories for a week just to give yourself, your body, time to reset and refresh itself and then get ready to go for the next phase. But no, if you're overweight and you're thinking about doing this, no, it's only a period of time. It's not something you have to do for the rest of your life. And afterwards, your maintenance calories will actually drop down, and it'll soon be, you'll not feel drained and fatigued, and everything will work out and you'll feel good in your own skin and all the rest of it. So no, that's not something that has to be for the rest of your life kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you feel like cutting and bulking phases, obviously, especially aggressive cutting and bulking phases, they do obtain a certain outcome. Obviously, with a cut, they make you lose fat if it's an aggressive one very fast, and with a bulk, if it's aggressive, make you gain muscle very fast. Obviously, it comes with fat as well, but there's kind of like a caveat, sorry, to both like a cutting and a bulking phase, and it's not what's widely preached is a body recomposition.
Yeah, right. So the thing is, you were saying about overdoing the cut and overdoing the bulk. See, if you overdo the cut and overdo the bulk, especially the cut one, you're basically outdoing yourself and doing it for no reason. If that makes sense, because if you're overdoing it, then you're cutting weight, but you're just trying to cut that muscle you just purposely done the bulk for. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. So it wouldn't make sense to aggressively cut. If you're just after a bulk, it's better doing it like a slow and steadier approach. Obviously, if the time period, you want to be in this shape for this date, and it's a really short period of time, then you might have to do that just to make sure you get to that weight or whatever it is. But it wouldn't make sense doing a bulk and then doing an extreme cut and then losing all the muscle you just put on, like if you done it quick. But regarding body composition, so this is something that people don't talk about enough, and I don't even have the most knowledge on it. But what I can say is that it would make sense more for an athlete body composition, I personally think, because they would have to go on a cut bulk all the time, the rest of it. But for someone who's really skinny and has no aspirations to be a footballer, boxer, just want to look good, I wouldn't say body composition would be the ideal. He would be the ideal person to do that because they have no fat and no muscle at all. So you're not in a position to do body composition. So it just make more sense for them to go on the bulk and then go on the cut and so on. And for someone who's overweight, when I mean overweight, I mean like extremely overweight. Like, it wouldn't make sense for them either. It would make sense for them to put on the muscle, right? But it also makes sense for them to lose the excess fat through your calorie deficit. But if someone's in, like, I don't know, they look good, but they don't look as good as what they could look, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're like in a period where they're happy enough what they look like, but they feel like, oh, I look that 1% better kind of thing, or 2%, and they've been going to the gym for a while. Maybe that could be a good strategy for them because they have only a wee bit of excess weight. They don't have that much weight there. It's more like, percentages, if that makes sense. And with them, they may have to go on a slight deficit or like a slight surplus and so on, like slight wee increments, if that makes sense, when doing a body recomposition. But yeah, I would say athletes would be more into body recomposition because they have the ability to do that without having to go on this big long bulk and then cut and all the rest of it. And plus, they would probably have a wee bit of muscle behind them already from the gym and stuff.
Yeah, I just want to kind of express the definition of what a body recomposition is for like people listening and viewers. a body recomposition refers to shifting the ratio of muscle to fat in your body composition through strategic adjustments to diet and exercise. While traditional weight loss focuses on decreasing body weight, body recomp aims to primarily reduce body fat while simultaneously building muscle mass. Jack, see, obviously, say I came to you right now, I was like, Jack, I want you to be my PT. I want to achieve a lean, muscular physique, right? Kind of based right now, I'm weighing around 86 kilo. My abs, they're not fully visible. I do have a bit of muscle. What do you think a body recomposition would be a viable option for me, or what would you like? How would you plan? Would you feel a more viable option would be to go through kind of the traditional bulking phase into a cutting phase?
If you're 86 kilo and your abs aren't popping through, I wouldn't. A bulk wouldn't be in the option personally for me because you get uncomfortable with your body real quick. With body recomposition, again, it just depends. Like, say if you have any aspirations of boxing and all that kind of stuff, then you might have to look at that kind of approach. But personally, if I was you, like if I was going off thing, I would go for the cut because then you're going to get as lean as possible. Then you go on a longer bulking phase. And with body recomposition, it's going to take so much longer than what a cut on a bulk would. And you talk like even a year. Like I know some people can stick that process, but it's going to be a lot faster going for a cut and then going for a bulk and then going for a cut and then getting to where you want to be. I think that period you get into a better shape, in my opinion, and it'd be such a more enjoyable experience, maybe, and also a sense of what's the word? I feel you could be more disciplined in the sense like a body recomposition. I feel like you can be like, oh well, I'm eating maintenance this week, and I'm going off that kind of thing. But if you know, right, I'm cutting right, I need to be locked in, or you know what I mean. I personally feel. For me, that's only going off my experience. Like, for example, I've never took anyone on that said, "Look, I want to have more muscle than fat, and I want a longer process, and I want to do a body recomposition." I have no one come to me saying that, and that's only because I don't really I haven't took on much athletes, and on top of that, there, not much people care enough about that. People care just to want to look good and feel good. No one. I'll obviously be body recomposition is great and all, but like for the most people watching this, and the majority of people just want to look good and feel good. So they're not really thinking, oh, muscle and that. They're just thinking about looking good. So when they do a bulk, they're obviously doing it to put on muscle, and then when they're in a cut, they're obviously doing it to cut off the fat and so you can see the muscle. But they don't even care about that process. They're caring about just looking good. To be honest, they don't even, obviously enjoying the process of learning and stuff for the rest of it. But their main goal is basically to look good and feel good. To be honest, the people I take on kind of thing. But
Yeah.
going off you, I personally would go on a cut, then a bulk, and then a cut. So
Yeah, see for people listening, and me as well. How long do you kind of recommend these phases to be?
depends on much body percent fat they hold and how much how low they're going to get. So for me, for example, I'm sitting at, let's say, in between 50. I don't know what, to be honest. I'd say 15-20%. Let's say, right? Maybe less. I don't know. It just depends on. This is why I do on check-ins. I do a check-in. I can see their photos off their body each week, what you gonna make, and how much weight they're losing. I would do it until you physically see abs, and then go on a bulk. Because if you're not seeing your abs coming through, you don't at least see your abs come through. If you're not even seeing your abs come through, then you want to go on a bulk, and you're gonna get really uncomfortable really quickly, and it's just not an enjoyable experience. Having to put your top on all the time and putting extra jackets on, without realizing you're doing it, but kind of thing. So if it just depends on the individual. I know it sounds mad, but it just does depend on the individual. But if we're going off just the way I look or the way you look, for example, I'd say it just varies from, I'd say, maybe 2 months. It just doesn't. It really varies
Yeah.
from person.
It's until you achieve it's kind of until you achieve the goal that you want, then you kind of move on to the next goal of obviously with the bulk. You want to get to a certain, say, strength or muscle mass. Then once you get that muscle mass, you want to start cutting to a certain percentage of body fat.
Yeah, it also goes off checking. So, for example, if I see your weight going from, I don't know, say you're averaging a kg a week you're losing, and I look at these progress photos and I feel like, right, he's losing weight actually too quickly here, or he's not losing weight enough, even though kgs a week, just then, for example, not losing enough weight, then I'd maybe lower calories or up the steps or, stuff like that. We intermittent adjustments, or and that's vice versa. Say he was on the bulk and not on the cut, may have to do it a bit slower, or he's doing it too quick. I want to lose a bit slower, or just in wee things. It's just different. It just depends, and then it depends on what they want for what date. Say for example, they have a summer body in 6 months, and they're currently on a bulking phase. They want to get to a certain weight, and then on the cut, say they would probably look. Say if you were on 90 kg rep and you want to bulk to 95 kg, you're going on a cut 3 months before summer, and you want to be 90 kg, and say you're doing it too quick. You want to obviously slow down that process, so up the calories and everything, or vice versa. Or if they're wanting to be 95, but if they get the 95, they're not going to look good. They're not going to see their muscles. They're like, right, I need to make more adjustments here. So it all just depends, kind of thing. But that's why it's so good to have a date in mind and a certain period to look at. And it's good to plan that kind of stuff instead of just going in, right, I kind of want to look good for the summer, but I don't know what day in the summer, and that's why it's so good to have deadlines and stuff. So then you can just not have to think, oh well, I look better than I did now, but I don't want to look. It's good to have a clear direction, this is the date, this is the time period I'm going to be training for, and this is how much days, this is one carries, and then so on and so on. But going on to your question about the time period, it just depends from person to person.
Yeah, so see, going back to me I've got two questions here. See, going back to me as the example, do you reckon from now until say July would be enough time to do a cut, a bulk, and a cutting phase?
June, July, 5 months.
Yeah,
5 months. A cut, then a bulk, then a cut.
Yeah,
it wouldn't make sense because you're going to have to go on a cut, then a bulk, then a cut. You'll not be in the best shape of your life. You'll obviously look better than you do now, but the longer you're going to go on a bulk, the more muscle you're going to put on, as you obviously know. And if you just, for example, if you're going to say you're going to cut, get it abs showing, then you go on a bulk, build the muscle, boom, and come down. You'd rather go on a longer time rise, but you can still do that process, what you just said, 100%. But if you go on a longer time rise, you want to build more muscle, it just depends on what your goals are and stuff. But yes, you could do it in that time period, but it wouldn't be as beneficial as what it would be as a 3 month block kind of thing. Like 6 months, 3 months cut, 3 months bulk, 3 months cut. It's longer. It's better to have longer time rises. But if you have to, adjust them to 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, then by all means, do so as well.
Yes, see, obviously, I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but actually, I'm quite interested. So basically, see with your average client, so see during a cutting and a bulking phase, right? So say first off, say a bulking phase, without kind of putting on too much body fat, what amount of weight would you like to see them putting on each week in terms of kilos, for it to be a healthy bulk with putting on minimal fat?
I like to do a slower, steadier approach, but with some clients, they don't really care. They're like, "Oh, right, blah blah blah." But if you're asking, I would say personally, depending on what thing you do, kg, personally, I think that's too much. You want to do it slower, in my opinion, so then you can maximize the amount of muscle you can put on, kind of thing. I would do it slower. I would do a pound a week would be good. To be honest, I like that approach. But some people say, as say 2.2 pounds in a kg, so people would say 2 pounds, a bit less than a kg kind of thing. I personally like a slower, steady approach, but it just depends. Say someone has a date in the summer kind of thing, or someone, I would do it maybe a more, not aggressive, but a more aggressive than a pound. But I like the slow, steady approach of a pound a week. But how to know, a question I think you might ask, or people watching might want to know the answer to, is when to know when to stop bulking. And that's when you get to the point where you generally feel uncomfortable. It's like, right now, you kind of know when you're ready to not bulk, if that makes sense, or to cut, sorry. You kind of know and how to know is you really feel uncomfortable. That's, say, for PT, that's when you need to tell them, right, look, I'm starting to feel really uncomfortable here. And then that way you can work out a plan and go from there. But if you don't have PT of yourself, when you get to the point where you're uncomfortable, maybe stay out another week, maybe 2. But if you're generally at the point where right, then that's the time, right? This is the time to cut. What I recommend from a cut, I would go 300 calories less per day, and then go on a slower approach of 100 calories less each week, or something like that, something like that approach, instead of going 300 calories less and 300 and then 300. If you do a 300 first, initial boost, boom, and then do wee small incrementals, that way there, it's going to be more beneficial towards for you. So it would be, I would say so. But when I say maybe even 50 calories each week, it just depends. It just really does depend. But a slower, steady approach towards cutting off that phase would be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get you. So, kind of reverting back to the original question, these are all this has kind of stemmed off of about number 3 months question. Want to be in the best shape you can in 3 months. What would the kind of diet look like? What would you kind of say to someone who's came up to being like, 3 months to get into the best shape I can? What diet? Whether they're on a cut or a bulk, or well, obviously it would be a cut more probably if it's 3 months, but.
Well, this is going to be another, sounds like a cop out, but my clients and me, for example, I like eating what I like to eat. Same with people, clients and all that stuff. So for me, I think it just depends on the individual. For example, for me, I prefer having calories, macros, and that's me. I'm glad, happy as Larry, because that means I can fit in my favorite foods and not have to, sacrifice my favorite foods and stuff. But for some people, they like to have a structure, like to have a plan. Right, this is what I'm eating, and it helps them not having to think of what they're having to eat. Kind of, which by all means, I completely understand that, because I like having to know what I'm eating. That's why I eat near enough the same anyway throughout the week, and that helps me a lot. So from a visual representation, it is good. I can see why people like diet plans, and I can see why they like it, but it's hard when you want to fit your favorite foods in and so on. But maybe if you're telling the PT or you're making your own one, find what ways you can actually adjust them into what it is you're trying to eat. But the exact, like, if you're going for exact things, like, this is what I need to eat, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, protein is important. So you can get your chicken, you can get your lean mince, you can get your, so many turkey mince. Turkey mince is so low in calories and it's high in protein. So see, if anyone trying to lose weight, turkey mince, turkey burgers, turkey bacon, anything to do with turkey.
Turkey.
So high in protein and really, really low in calories. Also, there's really good yogurts out there that fill me up. I was craving, actually. I'm eating less than what I would have. I want to get around 80 kg thing a weekly, but I was craving food the other day. I was craving chocolate during the week. It was on Friday, and had a wee bit of protein yogurt. Put strawberries in it, right? Protein yogurt, strawberries, honey. There's me getting 20 grams of protein, just like that there. My craving of the honey, I know honey's high in calories and all that stuff, but only a wee bit. There's my sugar gone. Strawberries, boom, that's sorted, cleaned out. As well, for times, going off exact that, but Halo Top ice cream, big one. If you're craving just a wee bit of sugar, high volume, low calories. For around trying to lose weight again, because some of my clients are building muscle, but some are losing weight. I'll go from weight loss first. You want to get fed in as much as possible, only because it's low calories, high volume. High volume essentially means you can eat more with less calories. If that makes sense, you can actually lose weight by eating more, but you can eat more and lose weight. And it's all about calories and volume. And with vegetables, you can eat high volume and low calories. So get fed in every meat, most meats you can. And in the morning, I found works for me, and this might work for you, is getting protein in the morning with your first meal, especially, because obviously protein makes you full for longer, because the hunger hormone ghrelin. It also is for growth and repair, as people know that as well. So I would actually say get protein in the morning. That's really key. For me personally, I get oats and I whack protein powder in, and that's only because I'm lazy and I could be more cooking, and that takes 3 or 4 minutes. So that's what I do. And then people aren't like me there. I get plain mince and potatoes for my lunch. That sounds leaping, but for me, I like it, and I get 52 grams of protein in there, like, easy, just like that. So that's what I've been having. No, I know, plain. But think about it. For me, and this is my perspective now, that's not from my clients, it's just from my perspective. If I eat something that's really nice, I want to eat more, if that makes sense. So I get something that's not too nice, not too leaping, but not too nice. It makes me now want I just about get enough. I'm content with what I get. But if I get something that's really nice, I want more. So that's why I think that is why that I have stuff that's plain during the week. I think that's why. That's not me. That's just me assessing of right now. Off the top of my head, that could be why. But yeah, that's my analogy of that. But I know trying to build muscle, I would still say get the food and feds in because you can eat more and all that stuff. But what I would say when we're trying to build muscle would not to go for them, oh, I can eat chocolate all day and I can eat this and I'll not just forget about the nutrients and the, calories, protein, all the rest of it. Just forget about it, just eat as much as possible. Do not go on that approach. Obviously, it's not ideal to go on that approach, but if it's last resort, go by all means. But personally, like, if you have less excess fat when you go on the bulk, when you cut, it's going to be a less of a cut, because you have less excess fat. But if you're just eating shite, then it's going to be a longer cut, and no one wants to be on a cut. Let's be honest, no one wants to be feeling drained and that kind of stuff. So that is why I recommend eating clean. When I say eating clean, get your chicken in, get your I can start pre-plan it. So you're bulking, cut, pre-plan it in the sense that like fit your favorite foods in, but also pre-plan, right? This is what I'm eating this day, that day. Yeah, I can easily turn around and be like, right, here's the specific diet. This is what you should eat, blah blah blah. But for 90% of people, it's not going to benefit them. It's good to have a structure, but it's not going to benefit them because people like different foods and different categories. That is why it's good to make something that works for you and it's in your macros and stuff. For example, we'll go off me. We'll go off me. For example, if we're going off just me, obviously, if I had to do what I eat, right? So say, for example, I'm 40 or 30% protein, 40% carbs, and 30% fat, for example. What I would have in the mornings, as you already know, is oats and protein powder. Then I would have potatoes and mince. Then I would have 2 cods, potatoes again, and veg. That would be amazing. And overall, it's 1,550 calories, right? Monday to Friday, Saturday, I would have a wee bit of my saved over calories from them calories that night, and then Sunday night, and that way I'm working around me instead of I'm making the calories work for me instead of the calories working on me, if that makes sense. And, you know what I mean? So I'm making the calories and the macros work for me instead of having to have a plan, having to not eat these foods I actually want to eat, if that makes sense. So that is why I think it's better to not have a diet plan, in my opinion. But in saying that, it is good for structure, and I understand 100% why people would want it, especially for people who don't really have the knowledge as me, in the sense like, I know this is protein, I know this is carbs, I know this is this, I know this is that. But for people who need to start off the journey and they have literally zero clue about what's what in that sense, then I can understand, right, this is what a diet plan, and that's why it's good to have structure, and then they can look, oh, right, this is what this is, and this is what that is. Maybe a categorization of proteins, carbs, and fats, and foods, and how much protein, carbs, and fats in each one, and sent over. Maybe do research on that, a PDF, and then go from that kind of structure. But I can understand at the start of your journey, if you have no clue about carbs, fats, and all that, that plan can help massively. I would love to give you specific stuff, but it just depends on how much portions, how much per person and stuff. On what person they go. Some person could have 100 grams of lean mince, and a person can have 20 grams. It just depends in that sense. But as you know, protein for government prayer, and we're going into, and I know I'm going on here, but carbs is one I would like to talk about. So carbs give you energy, right? And I see for an athlete, they're going to need more carbs. That makes sense because they're moving more, all the rest of it. But see if you're not using the carbs, then it's going to store as glycogen or fat and all the rest of it. But in saying that, people say cut out carbs. Do never ever cut out carbs. You think you have no energy on a deficit? Imagine cutting out carbs. Flip, you'll be telling you your energy levels would be just plummet, and you'd be fucked. So I wouldn't recommend cutting out carbs. It's stupid. So don't be doing that. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, unless you're going on a ketogenic diet and moving the fats.
Yeah, I suppose.
I get you, right, Jack. Obviously, so see me personally. See when I try to get in good shape and stuff, and be going to the gym and stuff. The biggest challenge I face, lad, is my diet. Right?
Yeah.
How do I actually obviously track calories, track macros, but how do I make it easier? Because as you know, it's an absolute ball ache to track macros and calories. So what's an efficient, effective way to do this to get like kind of the desired outcome, so to speak?
I hate to be that guy, but the basics work and the boring stuff works because, right, for example, for me, I eat the same stuff So it's boring. It's shit, but I know how much calories, I know how much macros, and I already know. So when I go into MyFitnessPal, I already have it done. Right? I already know what I'm eating. So like I already like boom. The biggest tip I could give you for MyFitnessPal, especially if you already know what you're eating. Right? So find out what it is you're going to eat. Right? This is how much calories, protein is, all the rest of it, and this is what I'm going to eat within that process. See on the Sunday, plan out the Monday to Friday, right, and make sure to save calories over for the weekend, kind of thing. On the Monday to Friday, plan it out what you're eating, and then already type it in on the MyFitnessPal. So that way during the week you can like you can go on MyFitnessPal, right, had that, and say you didn't have that, just take it out, blah blah. What I do in the month, what I do personally is either that or on a Monday morning when I eat my breakfast, I put the oats in for 2 minutes. While I'm doing that, I'm planning out what I'm eating already on MyFitnessPal, so I already have it there, and also because it goes into my recent stuff I've had previously because I eat the same stuff. I just click on that. It's easy to come up, and I don't have to scan the barcode now because it's already there. If that makes sense. So when I eat my breakfast in the morning, I'm already writing what I'm eating that day. So by when my breakfast is ready to go, I've already wrote down what I'm eating that day, and if I add anything else to it, obviously put it in. But because I eat the same stuff, it's really easy, and the basics work in that sense because you're eating the same. You know what's in it, you know what's going to work, and that kind of thing. That'd be a really big tip for me. Would be already planning out when you eat your breakfast, put in everything else you're going to eat that day, and plus, see if you've already previously added, it's already in your recents. Another one would be what is you would currently eat now? Like, what is it like? Do you like switching it up?
No, I pretty much eat chicken every single day because it's the most affordable.
Yeah, I agree. So it makes sense then.
But yeah,
I would say definitely use that one. See, we're saying most affordable one. See for most affordable. See potatoes. See for like I know where proteins are probably the most. It is the most important macronutrient, but with potatoes, they're also the most filling food. Uh, Potentially, I think there's a study done that says I'm pretty sure it's the most filling food. Anyway, potatoes 90p. If you're looking for a cheap protein source, you were saying there about chicken. Another one would be cod, not cod.
yeah,
Sea bass fish. Right, two of them. One of them's 125 grams, 108 calories. So you're going to cut 108 calories, 20 grams protein. Two of them for £2 right now in Tesco. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So I think. I'm trying to think of any other pointers, but I think that's probably the best one. Is already planning out when you're eating your breakfast, planning what you're eating. Because that means if you've already eaten, if you're eating the same thing, it's already in your recents. So it's like it's one of them things you don't have to think about it. If that makes sense, it's like
So kind of just try your best to stick to similar foods every day. To maybe like say like track it for 1 week. Then kind of just I personally would eat the same thing every single day. Do you know what I mean? So if I was to track for 1 week, I would know exactly what it would be around.
yeah, people get caught up in the tracking stage, like oh I can be bothered, I can be all this. But see, the more they do it, it actually gets easy. It's like oh this is
Yeah,
actually easy.
it's
Like
like a
this.
game.
Yeah, this is like, and then they get used to. Oh, this is much. That's actually interesting. Oh, right, now, boom, and it takes 5 minutes. As a start, it takes a longer period of time, but once you get used to it, boom. And even if you're eating the same stuff, I still think, in my opinion, tracking is so king. So I would still say track 100% because you might get the odd thing like, you know, people don't. Some people don't even know this. You know, there's calories in sauces, there's calories in drinks. You know, people don't even look at stuff like that there. There's calories in oils, and you know, people don't look at that kind of stuff. So you need to take that into consideration too. But even if you know what you're eating, I would still say track because there is the odd time where you might have less or something, more or something, or you might add in something, you might take away something, you know, and so on. So yeah, but that's the biggest one I take away is Monday morning, write out while you're your breakfast, write out what you're having that day, or if you're even ahead of the game on the Sunday, write out what you're going to be eating for the whole week. Personally, I do it every morning when I'm eating the breakfast, boom, boom, and then take away stuff, add in stuff, and so on.
Yeah, 100%. You said about protein being the most important macro of carbs, fats, and protein, the three macros.
Yeah.
How much protein do I need to actually hit? Like, and also at the start, would you even worry about kind of for a beginner, like say the split between carbs and fats, or just focus on protein and calories?
At the start, I would focus personally. I would focus on trying to track calories and not worrying about anything. Not even how much calories, how much protein, how much carbs, fat. I would get the first week out of the way of just tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Not worrying about the calories, not worrying about the protein, not worrying about the fat, not about just tracking and getting used to right. This is what I'm eating. Oh, and then you start to realize yourself in your head. You're like, is that much calories I'm having? Oh my god! Or is that much food? Oh, that much calories in this food that I'm currently eating? And it gives you a bit of a realization, and it's helpful. And then next week, start to look at right. This is the calories. Can you stick the calories? Boom, right? Then with the protein, and then so on and so on. Fats and carbs aren't as important unless you're an athlete or if you're really active. So it just depends on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what their goal is. Like, you know what I mean? If you have more carbs, you're gonna be more like, what's the word? Maybe more bloated. You may be like, that may look like you're carrying more because obviously there's water in, carbohydrates and all the rest of it, all that kind of stuff. But they don't really matter. See, if at the start, don't oversaturate that kind of stuff. Think about the calories, think about the protein, but at the start, just think about just tracking at the very start. But for something you're saying about protein, it obviously depends on the goal. Say, for example, the goal is to lose weight for anyone watching this, or including yourself, including myself, anywhere between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kg of body weight. But personally, I go off 2 grams personally. Like, I think 2 grams is a good happy medium, and more protein the better. And I kind of think, but 2 grams I think is perfect for anyone trying to lose weight. So, for example, 2 grams per kg of body weight. So, for example, if I'm 80 kilo, let's say, that means I need to get 160 grams of protein. There's 4 calories there's 4 calories for 1 gram of protein. There's 4 calories per 1 gram of carbs, and there's 8 or 9, depending on who you're asking, of fat. Of calories. So that's try to work out that kind of way. But that for someone trying to build muscle, people say 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kg of body weight. I don't know why that is, to be honest. I personally, I like more protein. Like, the more protein the better. I would even go off 2 grams again, but some people prefer, like, why is it less? Do you know why it's less? I think that why it is because protein obviously makes you full for longer. So when you're losing weight, you obviously want to be full as you can. So I assume that's why it's less when you're building muscle. But then
see with, like, obviously you said about the 2 grams per kilo body fat and stuff. Obviously that would be based off the original weight of 80 kilo. But say you've added weight in terms of muscle. Does that protein also need to increase? So originally it was 160 grams. Does it need to increase to, say, once you put on another kilo, does it need to increase to 164 grams?
For someone building muscle?
Yeah.
If they're... Yeah, you say so, but if someone building muscle, it's going to take a longer period of time. Like, if they're on a bulk, or they just natural, just themselves, like...
But bulk or cut, so when they go down, do they need to take less protein? Or
oh, right, yeah. You can make slight increments, but personally, you're not gonna see, like, at the start, you're not gonna see weight loss. It's just a wee small gradual process. So yes, that obviously are gonna have to come down, but with protein wise, you want to keep it up as possible. But you will have to make slight adjustments down. But with the other two, it's more going down. You don't really take away protein as much as you would with the other two, if that makes sense. Because you want to keep protein high when you're trying to lose weight. But building muscle wise, you can definitely up it, or no, down it a wee bit, up it a wee bit. But personally, it doesn't change, like, dramatically, if that makes sense. Like, it's only wee small things. It's more you look at the carbs and fats kind of thing. But it's only wee small increments, if that makes sense. Because especially if you're losing weight, but build muscle as well, it's only wee small increments, if that makes sense. Because you can't build muscle like that. I can't lose weight. I mean, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%. Here, so see, for, like, going back to the original question again about the 3-month period kind of thing, what would you kind of, or do your average client, what would be, like, kind of the training split, the training regime that you would kind of recommend them? Like, would it be like a push-pull legs, or what would it be that you aim for?
For a beginner?
Yeah.
Personally, for a beginner, I go 3-day full body. The reason for this is because you can give your body, instead of hammering one muscle group or 2 muscle groups, and then being absolutely screwed over the next day for the next couple of days, especially the start, because your DOMs, delayed onset muscle soreness, you'll be wrecked and all the rest of it, and not enough. Your body's just not used to it. With a full body, you're doing taking away the volume as much. For example, you do 2 sets on each muscle group. Just for example, 2 sets each muscle group. 3 days, that's six sets, and to build muscle, you want to be aiming towards 6 to 20 sets per each muscle group, but you'll be working at around six sets across the full week. So you're always thinking about spreading the volume. You don't always think, right, this one doing blah blah. You always think spread the volume, but with doing a full body, it's not hammering 2 muscle groups, especially at the start, not hammering 2 muscle groups and then being absolutely screwed over for the next session and the next session and so on. With full body, you're getting less pressure on the muscles for each session, if that makes sense. Instead of, you're still doing the same with the volume, but like you're doing less pressure on them, if that makes sense, especially the start at the beginning phase. Also, it's more enjoyable, I feel like, for a beginner standpoint, because when they're hammering the one muscle, they may not like doing this exercise, or they might not work on this muscle group, but they might enjoy the different exercise. So with full body, they're doing something different every time. And for someone who gets bored, or someone that used to the gym or don't like going to the gym, that's why I haven't even started, but they want to start, it's good because you're changing every time. It's not something, it's different, if that makes sense. And then when they get past that 3-month block of doing the full body, they'll think, oh, look at the difference from me here to there. I'm actually enjoying it. And see, when they start to enjoy it, that is where they start, or that is when they start to enjoy it and they see the progress. Then you can start to look at more stuff like push-pull legs, upper, lower, full body, 4-day splits, 5 days, and so on. That is what I would do personally for a beginner. A full body is a really good approach because, the reason why they haven't started in the first place is probably because they don't enjoy the gym. So like maybe with changing exercises often, and then top of that, not hammering the muscles flat out, and then going to the next session being absolutely screwed over kind of thing, and stuff.
Yeah. So Jack, I probably have the exact same amount of points to go, but should we make the next podcast about the rest of the points talking about this, or should we continue going this podcast and make it a very long one?
Why would we on that?
We're on 50 minutes. Should we give people a cliffhanger, leave them on the edge of their seats for next week's podcast to find out more?
I suppose we could. I want to make so me and Danny started to do this only this week. And it's something he said before the podcast. I think it's a really good idea. For he plans one, I plan one, he plans one, and so on. And I think it'd be good because it means I can make a topic that I want to talk about. And me and Danny have similar interests, which is good. I think most things we'd say me and him both have the same common interests. So it'd be good for me. Maybe he doesn't like something that he doesn't like as much as I like, but they like it because we have same interest kind of thing. So we talk about that and then switch over vice versa, blah blah blah, and that way we're not constantly just talking and hoping for the best kind of thing. I think that's going to help us progress our podcast onwards. It's not going to be just a sense of like showing up and just kind of thing. And don't be wrong, that's not us saying we're perfect and we're going to have planned every single time, but we're going to try our best to. Going forward, before we get on, I think when Danny comes back from Liverpool in the thing, I feel like we're gonna, progress way more, and we're actually gonna take on people and stuff and get people on board and stuff. The rest of it, I think it's gonna be sick. So for anyone watching, you'll notice I've started uploading shorts for the past week or so. And yeah, we are looking to make it better each week. Obviously, it's hard, but at the end of the day, we're not even a year into it. Like, no, it's not like
Yeah, we're just beginners, complete beginners to it.
But here, episode 19. This is, isn't it?
Episode 19, correct.
19, so 12 to 21. I'm craving the 21, to be honest.
See, kind of going off what we're talking about there, Jack, what do you reckon about kind of what we always do in the end of the podcast about biggest win and biggest challenge and biggest quote? Do we still go ahead with it?
Oh, yeah. That's not a debate. Like, here, hold on. I might have reached it. I've got 200 notifications here on my phone on TikTok. You can see that, like.
Oh, 200 notifications.
Yeah, the question is, did we reach on the so sorry to let the side down, folks, but We haven't reached it. I thought we were going to be on the podcast, end the podcast, and fucking get it up.
It's only 2:15, mate.
9:47. End of the day, I know I want to have the end of the podcast. Okay.
But here,
well,
Jack.
Danny,
What's happening?
It's you. Good.
No,
No, I was going to say it's the time of the week where we're talking about our biggest wins and our biggest challenges.
Do you want me to go first? I actually don't have anything written down in terms of this. I have my biggest win and my biggest challenge. So this is going to be organic for people listening of me actually trying to work out what was my biggest win and my biggest challenge. My biggest challenge was definitely my biggest challenge this week was consistency with my sleep. My sleep's been horrible this week. I'm waking up pretty late, but my biggest win was kind of towards the end of the week. I kind of got out of that cycle and became a lot more productive as well. I mean, not a very interesting one. I apologise, but Jack Gray.
What can you do?
What is your biggest win, your biggest challenge of the week?
My biggest challenge of the week would be, what would it be? Knowing what to focus on again would be one. It's really hard to know. Like when you don't know if the input's actually working, accumulate to something hard one. But biggest win of the week would be sleeping pattern back on track. Probably one. Sleeping pattern's locked in at the minute. 5 or 5 gym sessions, 5 or 5 cardio sessions, and then on top of that, what another one? Another one would be my client and my sister, actually, his sister, Anne Clant. She's now up to 65 kg squats for 4 sets, and her body weight is around 63, 64, 65 kg. So that's a really good goal achieved, 4 sets of her own body weight, and just gets you strong as fuck at the minute. So that's probably the biggest one. And all my clients, my brother Ben, he was 96 kilo, and now he's just weighed in there on Tuesday, average weight of 91 point something, so he's lost 4 kilo, which is fucking insane. My dad as well, so my clients wise is a really good win, which is not something I talk about a lot about in-person PT and my clients and stuff, but this week and last week especially, they've just done really well like stuff. So that'd be my biggest win and biggest challenge.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Jack, you know exactly what is next. Biggest quote of the day, mate.
Quote of the day, right? It's a short. Oh fuck! It's a short but sweet one, as they would say. So, me and Danny talk about taking risks and how hard it is to take risks because stuff that can happen if you don't, and how much money you could lose or how much friends you could lose or what things could happen from not taking the risk. But this is my quote of the day: risk is always better than regret. Just short but sweet, nothing too extreme, but risk is always definitely better than regret. For example, if someone's out there trying to wanting to start a business, wanting to get after it, and wanting to do their own thing, and don't feel that they have the balls to take the risk, know that there will be a time period where you will regret it, and know that there will be a time where time will no longer be there to take the risk, and yeah, you will definitely regret it. So my advice is just go for it, save the money up and just go all in and do the best. And here at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you can always go back. So that would be my quote of the day, Danny.
100%. Mine's actually really very related to that point about risk and regret. My quote of the day is the true definition of hell is when the you that lived. Hold on, let me start again. My quote of the day is the true definition of hell is when the you that lived gets to the end of its life and meets the you that you could have been.
Is that by Alex Mooney? Who's it by? Chris Wayne's not Alex Mooney.
Chris Williamson. I think he said it. I think it was Chris Williamson talking about it, but I think it's a boss quote. To be fair, like
It's fun. That's class. I think you've won the day. Like, I think I won last week, like, but I think you won that one. Like,
probably wasn't word for word. I kind of was going off at my head, but you get my point. It's definitely along them lines. You know what I mean? So, but
yeah, no, it's a great
But
quote.
here, every
Two
go for it.
froze. To anyone watching, I'm gonna leave you off with something. Leave you off with a question. Well, you know what it is. I think something I'm just gonna do this at the top of my head. Me and Danny's both gonna leave you off with a question. Put Danny on the spot as well, right? A question. One question is, right? My question is for anyone watching: what is one thing you can do today that will move the needle and make you a better person, or make whatever it is you're trying to accomplish be better? What is that one thing? Think what that is, and then think about the action steps you can do towards that to make that better. That's what my question is for anyone watching.
Comment your answer below for these questions. What my question would be?
It doesn't have to be anything like that. There can be what's better, fucking bananas or strawberries. It doesn't have to be anything mad. Like, I just don't know.
My question would be, what is your biggest, scariest dream that you want to achieve that people laugh at you for? Or you feel that you'd be afraid of people laughing at you for?
That actually gets you thinking as well. It's good. It's a good asking them questions. Then as you seen, my last quote was the quality for life is determined by the questions you ask yourself, and that is why I thought I'd do that there, because people don't ask themselves the question enough, and when you actually start thinking about the questions you should be asking yourself, it's like, oh, I never really thought about asking myself that, and then that so on. But yeah, I think we're ready to work on.
Yeah, here. And everyone listen, me and Jack are going to continue this podcast episode, which will be uploaded the week after, and obviously talking about kind of getting the best shape of your life, whether it's in 3 months or a certain time period. There's a lot more points to go off, so yes, tune back in next week to watch the rest of that episode. And please, if you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe, and comment your answers to the questions that we had. Jack, anything else before we bounce off?
I'm good to go. I think that has been today's Today podcast with Jack and Danny. I hope you have the best day possible, and over and out.
Over and out.